It's a lot of Did you get that? Hey guys, what's going on? It's Alex from Fitment Industries, and today I'm not gonna start it like that. Hey guys, it's Alex from Fitment Industries, and when we first get into the car community, a lot of us are pretty naive. When we're 16 or 18 years old and we finally get our first car, we want to start modifying it, but we really kind of make some less than stellar choices. A lot of times when you get into the car scene, you wanna just go and make it your own, but you don't really know how or why or who to trust and not to trust, and it can become a little bit difficult. Most people don't have $20,000 to dump into their car when they're 16 years old to start modifying it, nor do a lot of people when they really get older because of other things that happen in their life. Well, what ends up happening with that is you have people that just build the car that may not look the best, perform the best, or just kind of have some questionable styling, especially if you're picking it up from aisle 7 at O'Reilly's. So what do you do? And that's where a lot of the argument comes from when people who have been in the scene for a long time claim that you just cannot build a car if you don't know what you're doing and you don't have the money. So it comes down to the question of, can you build a car on a budget? Because that's just it, right? We want to get the wide body or the 3-piece wheels or the airlift and all this sort of stuff so we can be the cool kid on the block, but most of us really just generally can't afford it. And building on a budget just seems to be something that not a lot of people can think about, especially when you consider how much the scene has essentially grown in terms of price for anything that's cool. You really can't get anything new that's cool. Just kidding, yes you can. We're gonna talk today about if and how you can build on a budget. And since we are a wheel and suspension company, we're gonna focus on that the most, but just know that these sort of little tips and tricks can help you really across any part of your car, whether you're trying to modify the motor, the interior, the paint, the exterior, anything like that. Try to take some of these tips and see if you can apply them to other stuff, but we're gonna talk about 3-piece wheels, we're gonna talk about all that stuff because, you know, there are other things that you can do to your car to build it on a budget. So before we get started into wheels, tires, and suspension, here's a few tips for you guys in case you're wondering where you can start. And the first thing that you need to remember is that your car has to be mechanically sound before you go and modify it or do anything stupid with it, because it doesn't matter how cool it looks if it doesn't run. Don't ignore oil changes or things like that, or just stuff that needs to be taken care of, struts, suspension pieces, components, bushings, all that stuff. You need to make sure that that is ready to roll before you go and modify other things, because a lot of times, a more, I would say, veteran enthusiast is going to have more appreciation for a car that's been meticulously maintained and has less modifications on it than a car that has a ton of modifications on it and absolutely no care towards the actual vehicle besides making it look cool. The second thing that you're going to want to avoid is AutoZone and O'Reilly's in advance. Just don't even go into the aisles. Don't even think about it. I know you see the lights and the chrome side mirrors and all that stuff, and just don't. And the final tip that we would have for you just in general is that always remember that less is more. A lot of times when you're building on a budget, you want to make your car flashy and stick out way more than anybody else's car, but what you don't really realize is that since you don't have as much money, you try to go down on the price of those things that you're putting on your car, and it shows really early. So be sure that instead of trying to put a ton of stuff onto your car to make it look cool for a budget, start with the simple things that make the biggest difference and go from there. Less is more. The cleaner that you can make your car in terms of just getting rid of stuff, the better it's gonna overall look. Because remember, if you're spending a ton of money on wheels and tires, but then you still got 2 or 3 fenders that are rusted out, completely beat to shit, probably not gonna work out too well for you.
Are you looking at me?
And the fifth and final tip that we have for you is to restore your vehicle. So if a lot of people get those older cars, they get the older Mercedes, they get the older Pontiacs and things like that. A lot of times people get old boats for their first cars. Restoration is going to have a lot more of an effect on just overall how the car looks and feels than modification will, because you're gonna be able to restore the headlights, the taillights, to clean up the side skirts, to restore the chrome, to do all that sort of stuff, which is gonna make your car look better. Then once you get that established baseline, then you can go modify your car. Or you can do none of this. It's completely up to you on whether you want to do it. We're just speaking from our point of view, and those are just a couple tips, you know what I mean? You clicked on the video, I'm just telling you what I think. So let's get into wheels. Now when you're buying a set of wheels, a lot of people get a little bit concerned because you don't want to buy reps or fake wheels or anything like that. And there's always going to be a fine line between the two, but there are some really good brands that you can go out there and pick up a set of wheels for under $1,000 that are going to do a great job. And we do videos of those in the past, but the ones that I would stick to would be Enki, it would be Enkei, Koenig, and those sort of brands. Cosmos Racing is another great brand where they specialize in those sport compact style wheels. A lot of those sets will actually end up costing you less than $1,000 as well, and you can pretty much pick them up anywhere. They look good. A lot of the wheels that you're gonna pick up from those brands have a great reputation behind them. The lightweight wheels for Koenig are gonna be very good for you. The Enkeis are always light, but they're usually low pressure cast or gravity cast. And then of course Cosmos is gravity cast. They're a little bit heavier, but they have a lot more styling than the other two brands. So if that's something that you're looking at doing, you can get some nice wheels that a lot of people like for not having to spend $3,000 on a set of multi-piece wheels. If you're going into more of like a car show style, another two brands that we would recommend would be Niche or Rotiform, because both of those you can find some pretty good wheels for under $1,000. A lot of their designs are really nice and they have a pretty good brand behind them. A lot of people run Rotiforms right now, and since they're both under the same umbrella company of MHT, they both have pretty good styling. So if you're looking for something like that, that's a good wheel that you can also go with that isn't gonna break the bank and isn't really considered a rep and just has good quality and is gonna last you for a while without necessarily breaking the bank. But a lot of people will spend a ton of money on their wheels and then they spend no money on their tires, and that's probably the worst thing that you can do. You wanna make sure that you're saving a little bit of your budget for decent tires. Now there are a lot of tires out there that are extremely expensive. If you wanna go to Michelin's, if you wanna do BF Goodrich and things like that, or the Toyo Proxy series, you're paying a lot of money, but you don't necessarily have to go spend a ton of money on tires to just get decent tires for your car if you're looking to get it on a budget. And here are a couple of our recommendations. So the Federal 595s is a great series line tire that's affordable and does a pretty good job at keeping, equal tread wear, all that sort of stuff, good traction. It's just a decent tire. Another one that you can go with is the Ventus, the Hancooks. Those are also a great line tire that aren't gonna break the overall bank. If you're looking for something that has an all-season capability that's just gonna last a long time, has good stretch if you're looking for that look, or if you just want something that looks decent and performs well, the Nitto Neogen is by far probably one of the best bang for your buck tires that you can get on the market right now, which you can pair with your wheels if you so choose. Plus there's a bunch of styling that the Neogens have and sizes that really go with any sort of aftermarket wheel. Now this is where it's gonna get a little sales pitchy, so I apologize, and I know you guys don't like that. But what you can do is if you go out and you buy wheels and you buy them new, if you buy them, let's say from Fitment Industries, and you pair them with wheels, a lot of times what happens is the wheels are already at the lowest price that you can possibly buy them for. And then when you pair them with tires, since we have more money that we actually make on the tires, we cut you a better deal. And when you pair those together, they get mount balanced and shipped for free, which is like $200 worth of just services and stuff. And we cut you a little break on when you pair them together, because it's easier for us to ship wheels and tires together than it is to ship them separately. You save more money. So in case you were wondering what we do, that's what we do. But we're gonna get back into the helpful stuff. We're done selling this. I'm not good at it. I never could make a good salesperson. And the final thing that we would talk about would be suspension. So suspension components is probably one of the biggest things you can do to make your car look better. I've seen so many cars that have stock wheels, but they have lowering springs or coils on it, and it looks better than a stock height car with aftermarket wheels. It's just, think how it is. And maybe it's just the fitment in us that makes us do that, but it is a good looking car when you can get that thing down to a T. And here's some recommendations that we have for suspension without you having to go spend $4,000, $6,000, $5,000 on high-end suspension components. The first thing is just to start off with lowering springs. So lowering springs kind of has a negative connotation, but they really don't have to. Lowering springs are exactly what they sound like. They lower the vehicle and they increase the responsiveness of your car. And for a few $100, you can pick up a set of Eibach lowering springs and you're pretty much set. It usually drops anywhere from 1.5 inches to 2 inches in the front and the rear, and it can give your car a little bit more of a fitment look without necessarily having to break the bank with a set of $3,000 KWs. Now, if you're looking to get coils because you want that adjustability, or maybe you really want to go try your hand at some sort of autocross event, then we probably recommend something like Silvers or ST. And the reason that we would say that Silvers or ST would be good options is because Silvers is around $1,100 versus a lot of $1,600 to $1,700 comparison coilovers. And they have a lot of application purposes if that's something that you're looking to do. ST is a little bit more expensive, but ST has a bigger name than Silvers does, and they've been around for a long time, partnered with KW, so you know you're getting a quality product. It really comes down to whatever you want. So those are just some tips there, but can you really build on a budget? A lot of people say that you can't, or a lot of people say that it takes a long time to build on a budget, and we just really don't agree. I think that if you're out there and you're looking for quality parts and you look at the right places and the right brands, you can definitely find good bang for your buck stuff, especially when it comes to wheels, whether you're going through Koenig or you're going through Enkei, or whether maybe you're going through Cosmos, or if you're looking at tires, you're looking at the Ventus or even the Nexen SU1s or anything like that. The 595s are great affordable tires. And finally with suspension components don't have to be super expensive. Looking at around $1,100 coilovers or a couple $100 lowering springs from, Eibach is just gonna get the job done. But of course, make sure you keep that in mind when you're doing the rest of your car, whether you're working on motor work or just exterior work or interior work. Less is more, and making sure that you make the right decision and purchase once is gonna be super, super important to making sure that your build is the way that you want it to. Because if it's not, it can be a little disastrous on social media and nobody likes that. But I'm Alex from Fitment Industries. We hope you enjoyed. Drop a comment on what you'd like to see next. And of course, we'll see you later. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet. That's the second sales pitch, but I'm really much better at the subscriberization. The subscribering. I'm Alex. Peace.